What's up, everybody? Mike Lindsley back with you. It's an ML Sports Take here from Rosie's Corner. It is a Black Friday special. Absolutely the best gift card deal in history. You spend $25, you get a $50 gift card. It's awesome. You can use it for the pizza, the wings, the comfort food, and a heck of a lot more here at Rosie's Corner. So make sure you get on down here until 11 a.m. today and get that great gift, stocking stuffer, you name it. Wanted to hit a little bit of the positive and the negative with the Bills at 8-3 after the win on Thanksgiving yesterday. I'm going to start with the positives, the four things that I think Bills fans really need to look at and understand how difficult winning in the NFL is. I think they need to look at it and go, okay, yeah, we're not that bad right now. I think number one is just simply finding a way to win. I mean, the last 2 weeks have been a complete clown show. I mean, you think about the weather in Buffalo with all the snow. You think about getting players out, getting to the airport, getting to Detroit, playing 2 games in Detroit in 5 days. This has kind of been a resilient bunch if you think about it, right? You add the injuries to that. I mean, think about the Thanksgiving game yesterday where, I saw some people on social media saying, missing that many offensive linemen, the Lions should never be able to move the ball down the field. Well, they do have St. Brown, and they do have Jamal Williams, and they do have an all right quarterback in Jared Goff, and the Bills were missing everybody. I mean, Jordan Poyer's playing with one arm. Micah Hyde's out for the year. Tremaine Edmonds, their middle linebacker's gone. Trey White was on a 15-snap limit. Greg Rousseau up front was out. A.J. Epinesa was out. And Von Miller got hurt with a knee injury that we're waiting an MRI on, which could either be a knee sprain or it could be a torn ACL, and he could be gone for the year. That's how you can move the ball down the field on this defense. And by the way, AJ Klein had a slow start and really got better as the game went along. He knows the system, he knows the players, but not all of those guys and this particular group, they plucked them off the street just a couple days ago. So I think when you look at the injuries, you look at winning the close games, you look at the resiliency and all that, it's just kind of finding a way between the injuries and everything else that I mentioned. I think number two is while Josh Allen has struggled, and I'll get to him in a minute, he's been unbelievable when it counts, right? Like yesterday, he throws another bad pick. He kind of was missing some targets here and there. He did have, again, that Diggs drop set the tone for the first drive that the Bills had. But Josh Allen in the fourth quarter, when the stakes are the highest and they need to get the ball down the field and they need to get points, Josh Allen delivers. He had well over 350 yards. He had 3 touchdowns. And listen, if he's not playing elite Josh Allen football, and what I mean by that is last year's playoffs, right? He was nearly perfect against the Patriots. He was nearly perfect against the Chiefs, deserved better after that game. And you look at all those things, and you kind of see Josh Allen here and go, okay, well, if he's not going to play that elite Josh Allen level, right, which is really hard to stay up there all the time, and that's why I credit guys like Patrick Mahomes, because it's just amazing to watch how the mistakes are just so limited. Okay, well, what's the next best thing we can get? It's this Josh Allen. It's the Josh Allen in the fourth quarter who makes it happen. And that rope throw that he threw to Diggs over the middle to take the Bills down for that 45-yard field goal by Tyler Bass. I mean, that was one of the best throws I've ever seen by Josh Allen. That window was so tight. In fact, there were 2 tight windows, one just in front and one right there when Diggs made the play. Terrific stuff from Josh Allen there. So again, you struggle with the red zone turnovers overall. He's missing people, on and on it goes. But then you fast forward to the fourth quarter, and it's like, there's our guy. There's our MVP, right? So I think you have to kind of take that part of Allen with it. Oh, and by the way, he's playing with an injured elbow. And that's another thing here. I know Tony Romo, that's all he wanted to talk about. I wish that he had talked about some other things during the telecast. But neither here nor there, Allen has been terrific when it matters. He's just got to clean up all those other mistakes. The other thing is, while Allen has struggled, I've been impressed with the Bills' ground game. I mean, let's be honest. I don't think you need to go back to 1940 and 50 and just run the football all the time. But you do need balance in this league. I don't care how many great quarterbacks we've seen in the past. Troy Aikman's in the Hall of Fame, but he had Emmitt Smith, right? Like Terry Bradshaw's in the Hall of Fame. They were a throwing type team in the 70s. Yeah, they also had Franco Harris. So those are just a couple of examples. While the Bills have had Allen struggling, the ground game has really come through, man. I mean, the offensive line gets better and better blocking. They were down Deion Dawkins yesterday. They went into the game down Mitch Morse. Their 2 best, most stable offensive linemen were out of the game, and the Bills were still able to run the football. Devin Singletary, James Cook have been great. I thought Ken Dorsey nailed it on the last drive where he called those 2 runs for Josh Allen at the perfect time. The Lions were not expecting it. They were expecting throw. Allen runs up the middle, gets a big chunk. Then he runs around to the right, gets a big chunk, goes out of bounds. brilliant calls by Ken Dorsey there, but the ground game has been great. And then the final thing is, I think 8-3 is their record, and the last positive that I want to mention, it's all ahead of them still. They can still get healthier. They can still get better. They haven't played A-plus football yet this year. The Bills started 6-1. They hit a little bit of a road bump, losing to the Jets, losing to the Vikings, but they win 2 resilient games against the Browns and the Lions in the same city in Detroit. 8-3. They have a full week to prep now for the Patriots. They're back home. They're in their beds for the next several nights, and then they head out to Foxborough probably on Wednesday. You win that game, 9-3, it sets you up. You get extra rest for the next week's game, and you have 1 o'clock, and you have AFC East rivals coming into Buffalo, December, winter weather. Maybe things start to turn the tide to the Buffalo Bills. Now, there are negatives here with this football team, and 2 of them are on defense. And listen, this is where you say injuries aren't an excuse, right? Well, I tell you right now, I mean, this is fundamental Pop Warner stuff. The Bills are having awful problems tackling players. They just cannot seem to wrap up a tackle. And that goes for guys who are starters. That goes for guys who are not named Poyer and Milano. That goes for, anybody. I mean, Damar Hamlin had a bunch of tackling issues yesterday. The corners aren't tackling. Speaking of the corners, speaking of the safeties, the coverage is brutal. I mean, Dane Jackson got absolutely lit up. I feel like he's regressed since, the beginning of the year when they were really counting on him. I don't know if that head injury, and look, I'm glad he's okay, but that Monday Night Football game against Tennessee where he got, I mean, that was awful. That looked as bad as anything I've ever seen on a football field. So I don't know if there's lingering effects there. Maybe he's not all the way there from his, his motor skills or movement or whatever. I mean, I hope he is okay and is good the rest of the way, but man, I mean, Dane Jackson's getting torched, and Trey White was on, like I said earlier, a 15-snap limit. They don't have Christian Benford, Kyrie Elam. There's just not a lot there as far as the corners, and they're getting torched. They need Trey White back big time. Maybe next week he plays close to a full game. So tackling, coverage are issues. Again, Allen, I mentioned him with the little bit of bad there is that he is turning the ball over and missing people. He's got to clean those things up. I think that's one big thing. And then I think basic fundamentals, tackling and coverage can kind of be included in that, but the basic fundamental part I want to go with is the bad penalties at the worst possible time. And also, when you think about it, this team is dropping the ball a lot, right? Like, I know Stephon Diggs made the plays in the end, but like the drop to kind of set the tone for the first drive, that's a problem. You look at the penalty, they had a couple last week against Minnesota that were just absolutely absurd. The offside play, I mean, Minnesota got another crack at it on that QB sneak by Kirk Cousins, but the Bills stopped the fourth down, right? I mean, they stopped them. But Jordan Phillips jumped off sides, right? We saw Von Miller have some penalties the last couple of weeks. The Bills, they've got to clean up both offense, defense, the penalties. I roll that into basic fundamentals more than anything, and that comes down to a lot of coaching. So let's see if McDermott and Frazier and Dorsey and all the others can help this team with basic fundamentals like penalties and, of course, drops and anything in between. So I'd go tackling, coverage, Josh Allen, basic fundamentals on the negative, but the positive, again, finding a way to win through the injuries and all the rest, the adversity, the snow, the short weeks, no practice on some days, the ground game emerging. Allen's still a stud in the fourth quarter. 8-3 overall, all ahead of them, moving into Foxborough on Thursday for a clash with the Patriots of New England. Mike Lindsley with you here. It's an ML Sports Take. It's all brought to you by our friends here at Rosie's Corner. Stop on by until 11 a.m. today for the Black Friday gift card special. It is the best gift card special in history. You spend $25, you get $50 back. You can use it for all the great stuff here. The pizza, wings, stuffed shells, classic burger, comfort food like your Meatloaf Monday and Turkey Slop Tuesday and Chicken and Biscuit Wednesday. It's all here at Rosie's Corner. Right now, come on in, $25 spent, get you a $50 gift card. That's literally 2-for-1 food here at Rosie's Corner. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. And of course, you can check Rosie's Corner out on Instagram and on Facebook. Route 11 in front of the Brewerton Bridge in Brewerton off the Bartell Road exit. Rosie's Corner is a proud ML Sports Platter sponsor. Thanks to Jason and Jody for having me down, of course. And as I always tell you, enjoy the games.